All right, welcome back to the New Equity Network show. Michael Yorba, your host, Ed Baxter co-hosting, and we're broadcasting to you live from the KBCE DFW's Business Authority, 1160 AM. All right, on the show right now we have John Lowery. He is the president and CEO of Wholelife Companies. He is changing the way the real estate market works. It's got an innovative idea. I've already spoken to some people in the real estate development industry. And, man, you have got, John, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. You've got a new way to do business in the real estate industry. But before we get into that, you've got also a very interesting background. Why don't you give us a little background on you? And I was really impressed with your mentor a long time ago. We'll get into Wholelife, what the company does, and then you can walk us through how you're changing the real estate industry, all right?
Sure, thank you. Well, I started the company 35 years ago. We have been in the senior housing sector from our inception. Turned 58 years old April 24th, so it's all I've ever done. We build senior housing primarily in the southeast and southwest United States. It's been traditional independent living, assisted living product. We've built 34 communities since 1979. In addition, we've been building for sale product targeting the empty nester, and we've built approximately 3,000 single-family for sale homes targeting the empty nester. And so that's been our focus over the last 35 years is catering to the baby boomer, not the baby boomer, but the empty nester. And now our focus is turning to the baby boomer.
Okay. What I wanted to bring out is your background in the beginning, because you had a mentor that was fairly famous, had a product that was fairly famous. Who was that?
Well, I did. I grew up in Alabama, but moved to Memphis for college, played football there, and started the company right out of school. And the gentleman that helped me get started was named Kimmons Wilson. And Mr. Wilson founded Holiday Inn. It was headquartered in Memphis. And he came across the idea in 1952 when he took his family on vacation to Washington, D.C., and learned about having to pay for his room on a per-child basis, and came back to Memphis and created the first franchised hotel, which became known as Holiday Inn.
All right. Ed, I know you've got a litany of questions here for John. Let's bring them out.
Morning, John. Hope you had a great drive down from Oklahoma City. We know that there's 78 million adults between that were born between 1945 and 1964. Yours truly is actually one of them. We also know they represent a significant portion of the net worth and the purchasing power that we see here in the United States. John, talk to me about the vision that you've shown and are looking to attack this active adult market going forward.
A great question. In 1980, I'll answer that question with a little background. In 1980, we opened up our first community in Memphis, and the average age of our residents moving into independent assisted living was 68 years old, and our average age moving to the funeral home was 72. This was in 1980. Most recently, we sold a portfolio of 9 of our communities, identical to what we had done in 1980. And the average age moving into that product was 79, and the average age moving to the funeral home was 90. And so what's happened here in the last 30-plus years, life expectancy in the United States has skyrocketed. That combined with what you just pointed out, with 78 million baby boomers coming, the oldest of which is only 68, they're going to be living longer than any generation before them. And so the product that we are creating is a for-rent alternative for the baby boomer. What we're finding is that coming out of this last recession, that there's some reticent in the market to purchase another single-family home at the age of 62 or 63 or 65, and being able to rent a luxury residential product is a product that many baby boomers are very interested in moving into. And so that's the opportunity we see.
Well, the one thing that stands out also as far as the vision that you've shown as far as Wholelife is concerned is not necessarily the fact that you have baby boomers or older adults living in these communities, but the amenities that you offer and the lifestyle that it seems to create. Talk a little bit about how you see the aging process going forward, because I know, at my age now, I'm over 50, and I'll say that, but I also know that I don't feel like I'm over 50 like I saw people over 50 before I became over 50. So I think that said, give us a little bit of a look into the life of the active adult community and how you see it and what you've done to perpetuate it.
Well, that's the $64 question. A question we discuss regularly among ourselves is, do we want to have an age restriction on our community? And historically, an active adult senior community has had a minimum age, but frankly, I've never met anyone that's 55 and above that cheered when they turned 55 and said, gosh, I get to live with a bunch of people older than me. And so what we think is important is that we design a product that's large enough to meet the needs of a couple, 1,800 to 2,000 square foot product as opposed to market rate 700 to 900 square foot units. Number two, being able to create and offer a variety of amenities that the active adult or any adult wishes to have, and that's a concierge, a 24/7, a wellness coach on site that can help us get in shape, a licensed nurse practitioner. So if I were to wake up this morning with a sore throat, I don't have to go to the doc in a box. I'm able to call the concierge, and the nurse is dispatched to my home. And the only thing I pay for outside of my rent is just for the medicine or shot itself from the nurse practitioner. So at the end of the day, what we see in the future is not putting a minimum age on the product. It's really designing a product that by design, it's going to be of interest to an older, more successful person, largely because of price. And that's why we would rather design to an outcome than rather put a minimum age on it. So you hit the nail on the head. And when I opened up my first, I don't mean to go on and on, but when I opened up my first senior housing community in 1980, we called it, the gentleman that put up the money was named Abe Plow, and he owned Plow Industries, Coppertone, and St. Joseph Ashford. He put up the money for the community, and we called it Plow Tower Home for the Elderly. I mean, what a horrible name I put on that community, Home for the Elderly. Even if you're 90, who wants to live in a place called Home for the Elderly? So we got rid of those sorts of names. We don't use the word senior. We don't use the word elderly. That's not how we position ourselves in the market.
A lot of us who've been around for a while and seen a lot of different real estate projects that kind of mirror yours have seen what we've seen in Del Webb communities. If you were to compare and contrast yourself to Del Webb, give us a little bit of flavor for what the difference would be.
Del Webb's a great company. They're a subsidiary of Pulte and have done an awesome job building active adult for sale product across the southeast and southwest United States, and we take our hat off to them. They are a for sale community, and ours are 100% for rent community, and we position ourselves as attainable luxury. So the cost of moving in with us is 1 month deposit, and thereafter it's a 1-year lease or a 2-year lease. And we're finding that our customer with a 17,000 stock market would prefer to, when they sell their home, to take their cash, give it to their investment advisor, and they're probably they believe going to get a better return on their investment in something other than real estate. Today, if I buy a home at any age, if I don't have at least a 3% appreciation a year of inflation, I can't break even on property tax, HOA fees, and insurance. And so we see ourselves as the alternative to Del Webb, a great company. One of the projects we're starting is next door to Del Webb in Frisco, Texas.
John, let me interrupt you for just a second.
Sure.
We need to take a commercial break, and I want to get into the business model on the other side of this commercial break, all right?
Perfect.
We'll be right back with John Lowery, CEO, President, Wholelife Companies, changing the way the real estate markets move in his sector. We'll be right back.